Welcome to this week's edition of the Rambler Sports Locker, your source for the best in college sports. I'm Steve Manny.
And I'm Nick Amatangelo. It's been a tough time to be a Rambler sports fan. As a matter of fact, they've failed to win a single game in any sport over a 21-day stretch since the women's volleyball team beat Chicago State on September 10th. This unfortunate streak lasted until the women's soccer team took out Indiana State 2-0 on Sunday. Goals from junior Anna Michelini and freshman Sammy Gage helped their team to improve to 4-7-2 on the season. The goal from Gage was the first of her collegiate career.
The men were in action this week as well. Their team has been winless since their game at Portland on September 4th, but they hope their return to home field after a 3-game road trip could turn the season around. Mary Sugden was there.
The Loyola men's soccer team took to their home pitch on October 1st to face conference rival Butler. The Ramblers established momentum early after a goal by James Howe came in the 22nd minute of play. The Ramblers were not as lucky in the second half after the Bulldogs were able to piece together 3 unanswered goals.
We just had a couple of mental lapses, and then we started to snowball from there. We couldn't get our feet back under us.
Yeah, our team turned off 3 separate times. I mean, from myself all the way to the top, we have to play every play as hard as we can.
The Ramblers are now 0-2 in conference play after falling to Green Bay 2-1. In the 2010 season, both of the Ramblers' conference losses came from Green Bay and Butler.
I think once you give up a goal, it's just the momentum changes, and there was a momentum change. I don't think tactically they did much things differently. It came down to set pieces. They scored on 2 set pieces, and that's where we need to get better right now. Our goal is to be plus in that area, or -4. And it comes down to individual battle in the box. Sometimes it's a wrestling match, and if you can hold your guy off, you're not going to score. So that's a thing we really need to work on and not make it any more complicated than it is.
The Ramblers will now travel to Cleveland to face Cleveland State on October 8th. Mary Sugden, Rambler Sports Locker.
And we're now joined by Mary Sugden in the studio. Mary, the team hasn't won in 6 straight games, but after that Butler game, they pulled out a 1-0 win against Oakland. Have they gotten back into a groove?
I don't know if they've completely gotten their groove back, but I definitely think they picked up some momentum last night. I mean, when you look at their schedule, they have a very tough conference schedule, and they've played 2 of their toughest opponents already, Butler and Green Bay. So looking forward towards the rest of the season, I think if they can put together the game like they did last night against Oakland, against a very competitive and physical team, I think they have a really good shot of taking the Horizon League, but they just have to put those things together as far as it comes when it
So
comes
a lot more
off
wins
season.
still to come?
Yeah, I think we can be hopeful when it comes to Rambler soccer from here on out.
Excellent. Glad to hear
All
it.
right. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Chris Muscat's women's volleyball team wasn't quite as successful as the soccer team this week. They finished up a 4-game series at Hallis and dropped all 4 games. Over the recent 6-game losing streak, which includes 2 road games, the Ramblers have lost 18 sets and won only 4.
An 11th-place finish in a 14-team field may sound like a rough outing for the men's golf team, but the final score of 303 for the team was only 14 strokes behind IPFW, the tournament champions. Sophomore Alex Cusimano continues to lead the team with his 3-over-par finish.
The women's team did a bit better than the boys in their efforts this week. They finished second out of 12 teams at the NIU Invitational. 2 of the golfers joined us in the studio today for an interview with Garrison Carr.
Tonight we're joined by 2 senior Loyola golfers, Ann Vrdolyak and Ashley Garrison. Thank you both very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Now you guys have strung together 3 straight second-place finishes this year. Ashley, how has the team been able to maintain their consistency against some very strong and deeply talented fields?
Well, in general, we pretty much have a really talented team. All 8 of us are pretty consistent with our scoring, and we just know that any players that make the top 5 in travel, they're going to have pretty solid performances. And we have great direction from our coaches. And
All right, now, Ann, as we said, you guys have had 3 straight second-place finishes. What's it going to take for you guys to break through for that first victory this year?
I think the fact that we have taken second place all 3 tournaments we're determined to finish our season strong, our fall season strong, and take first. We're pretty confident.
Okay, now for both of you, what's it like competing in such a potentially frustrating sport as golf? The margin of error is so slim. You can be striking the ball well all day, but the scores just might not be coming for you that particular day. So how is it competing in such a frustrating sport at times?
You really have to, I think all of us, I can speak for all of us, from playing golf so many years that some days you'll be striking it really well and the ball just won't go in the hole. Other days you'll be luckier than others, and that's just, it depends. You can't always control everything, so you just have to keep that mindset.
Now, so much of the game is mental. Is that tougher for you than the physical aspect of it?
Definitely for me.
I think so. We each have been working on our own swings for so long, and then at this point it is kind of all about mental toughness and making sure we play the courses as intelligently as possible, making good decisions. And
what holes do you guys score best at, or do you enjoy playing the most? Par 3, 4s, or 5s?
Go ahead.
For me, it'd have to be a tie between par 3s and par 5s, just because par 3s are short and they go faster, and par 5s, I think on par 5s you're allowed one bad shot and you can make it a good hole.
For me, I like par 5s basically because as a team we're pretty long hitters, and I feel like we can reach the green in 2 a lot, and we have a lot of birdie opportunities.
Now, coming up, you guys have the Western Illinois Invitational in Macomb, Illinois, on a course you haven't played on in a couple years, and some of your teammates haven't played on at all. Now, that's the case a lot of times. You're maybe playing on an unfamiliar course. How does that affect your mindset going into a tournament?
I would lean towards it being more of a positive mindset because you can't look back on previous tournaments where you may have had a few bad shots or a few holes that could have cost you. So you have a fresh mindset, and you can go into the course, and playing a practice round really helps because then you get a fresh idea of how the course will be played that week.
Now, do you guys have any pre-round rituals that you do every time before you shoot around, or something you did before you posted a great number in the past and that you've just continued doing since then?
I know a lot of girls on our team, they listen to music before, and we all hit balls, warm up. Some of us hit the same clubs one right after the other while we're warming up. I personally like talking to my dad. He gets me all pumped up. Come on, Ashley, I have the tiger. And
I hit the same clubs warming up, but then we also do a little team huddle before we all tee off, and we kind of talk to each other, get each other focused, and then have a go Ramblers cheer.
Now, during the off season, in the summertime, when you're not necessarily with the team, do you practice just by playing lots of rounds of golf, or do you have a specific regimen that you make sure that you do on the range to make sure that your game stays sharp?
I say it's 50-50 working on my game on the range and then playing tournaments or just playing rounds for practice for me.
Mm-hmm. I like playing to practice. I usually try to hit balls if I need to work something out in my swing, but I like playing a lot more than doing skills work, hitting one ball after the other on the range for hours.
Now, you guys have your season split up, or you have 2 seasons, one in the fall, one in the spring. What do you do in the winter? Because obviously here in Chicago, you're not going to be able to play year-round.
We get to go on a few courses, in October, but then we have off-season workouts, and then we do go, if we can get to different golf domes around the area. We'll try and do that as a team.
Great. Well, once again, we have been joined by Rambler golfers Vrdolyak and Ashley Garrison. Thank you guys very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Back to you, Steve.